What is going on, everybody? So it is Saturday. Yeah, it's Saturday night. And I'm working on my Jeep. It's the only time I get to. And I started working on it last night, and I'm gonna wrap it up tonight, what I started working on. But I want to get some reps in with this new camera that we're using this year, so just figured I'd show you what I'm doing to the brakes in the front of my Jeep. Maybe not that exciting, but if you are still running mechanical steering and you have coilovers and stuff, maybe you'll find this interesting. So let me show you what I got going on. So as you'll probably see if you're watching our videos, I talk about how I rebuilt the whole front end of this thing this time last year. And one of the things was that I talked about was that the bump stop was an afterthought from the coilovers. So it's behind the axle here, and a problem that I found, actually it was on this side, under bump there's enough slack that this line, which is like traditional wheel well mounted brake line, just like any other Jeep. You see that's literally an OEM line right there. Got this little Terraflex guy to hold it out of the way, but there's enough slack that this line, when I'm actually rock crawling, can get up underneath this bump stop. So you know, on a typical like full hydro like solid axle setup, you will run just like a rear axle. I guess I'll show you. Just like a rear axle where you have a single line. See the single line up there? And it comes down to the axle and there's a T. On a full hydro solid axle setup, you'll do the same thing in the front. I don't know why you don't really see vehicles like mine, I guess, with that setup. Everyone usually just runs what I have here, which is the wheel well mounted brake line. But also, most people probably don't put their bump stops behind their coilover. So I have that problem and I need to deal with it. So I am running the same setup in the back, in the front. Well, same theory, but it's going to be better. I'll get to that in a minute here. So I already started last night, and you can't see it. I'll just pull it out here because it's not mounted yet. Come on, come on. So this rubber hose, it's a double-ended female 3/16, is zip tied to the control arm, and then it is connected with a solid line down here to a T, literally from a rear brake line kit, which you would find on a Cherokee or a Wrangler. And then I've got a couple of hard lines to these tabs, and then these are still wheel well brake lines. I bought a brand new set, but instead of mounting up there and getting in the way of everything, they are hard mounted here, and then there's a little stud that I welded right there. I don't know if you can see it, a little 1/4 20, and this line will actually be fixed to the axle right there in front of this bump pad, but behind the coilover, and we should be in the clear. So tonight I need to, basically what I'm doing is I'm just going to take this line and reroute it over here to the base of my shock hoop, where I'm going to mount the other side of that rubber hose that I showed you was attached to the link. And you're probably wondering, well, if I'm making new stainless lines on the axle, why not just make a new hard line? And the reason for that is nice, whoa, gotta get the reps in on this camera. Hope you guys enjoyed that zoom. So the reason I'm just gonna reuse that passenger side line and not just make a fresh, nice looking one is because probably next winter I'm literally going to rebuild the whole back of this thing. And when I do that, I'm going to run all new brake lines in the entire Jeep. So for now, I'm just going to get the front situated and safe. And we're just going to reuse that line. I'm going to put the clamps on those little studs that I showed you, those little 1/4 studs, hook them up to the calipers, the steel braided hoses, check clearance. You know, it's at full droop right now, obviously. It's hanging off the straps. And yeah, once I relocate that passenger line, I can just bleed it. So that's what I'm doing tonight. The rear axle, which I just showed you it, this winter, I'm hoping to change all of this. I have some 2.5-inch rad flows that I'm gonna put in here and get rid of this silly little tab I made off my frame. That was like a last minute, let's get the Jeep done, let's stab these shocks in there that fit thing that happened 6 years ago, and it worked, and I never changed it, and it tears me apart inside. So the rad flows are actually gonna go up here behind this corner armor. I'm gonna move the coil out so it's center with the frame rail, and then I have a real Brannick sway bar that I'm gonna put in front of the axle coming down to it. And I'm also going to stretch the axle back probably about 4 inches, and while doing so, I'm gonna correct this geometry in the back here. There's almost no separation in this like single unit link bracket thing I bought from Barnes or Rough Stuff or something like that. So these are gonna move forward about 4 inches, and then this is actually gonna get dropped, I don't know, I got some pretty decent separation on the axle, so probably drop this like 2 or 3 inches, and then move both of them forward 4 inches, or backwards 4 inches. So my wheelbase will be better, and my shocks will be better, my coils will be in a better spot. I'll have a real sway bar in there, and what else am I gonna do when that time comes? Oh, I'm gonna redo the brakes. So we still got the boat anchors in here, drums, and I'm gonna do a disc brake conversion, and when I do that, I'm gonna do the same thing I'm doing in the front, which I haven't done yet. This is literally the stock setup in here that I showed you before. I'm gonna put this line on the upper link it with one of those double-ended rubber hoses, and at that time I'll do stainless lines here, stainless lines on the chassis side, and yeah, we're gonna check off a lot of boxes. So I'm driving this thing in a couple of weeks, driving over some real rocks, so this was a major thing that I wanted to get sorted out before we did that. And you might see another last minute video, or at least some Instagram posts, because we got some serious backlash in here that did not exist before. So I may pop that off and see what's going on in there. And we might be putting in a 911 call for East Coast Gear Supply. So we'll see about that part. But I'm gonna get these brakes rolling, get them hooked up, use the air bleeder. Hopefully I can get it done myself. If not, when the guys get here on Monday, they'll give me a hand bleeding it, but at least it'll be safe. And I don't have to think about my front brake lines anymore. And it'll look a lot better too. And those sweet Kibitech limit straps will be all by themselves, as they deserve to be. So I'm gonna get going on this. Hopefully I don't screw up this camera stuff more than I already have. Ow. Don't put hardware in your mouth, I guess. Oh my god. There's like a burr on that or something. Oh, stainless metal sliver in my lip. Awesome. This is the worst. When your copper washer gets stuck on your banjo bolt. All right, so I have all the lines hooked up. I have all the fittings tightened up. Let's see if I can get a light here. I have the passenger side OEM brake line hooked up to the rubber hose that comes down here, attaches to the upper link there, follows this solid stainless line down to here, and then we have the T, the solid line to another stainless hose. I checked the clearance on both sides at full lock of the steering, and the hose is totally in the clear, which is awesome. So all the fittings are tight, and I cracked the bleeders loose. And the one thing that I didn't mention before was that so I'm using that the passenger side OEM line, right? Well, that comes off of the distribution block, the proportioning valve, I guess, from the master cylinder. And now I'm not using the front left here. So I'm gonna have to weld up a fitting, block that off, and this is kind of an experiment. Josh said he did it on his Cherokee and it was fine. I'm hoping that 1 3/16 line has enough volume to operate these two front calipers, because that's what's feeding that rubber hose over there on my upper link. So I'm gonna weld up a fitting, throw it in the distribution block, and I'm gonna put the air bleeder on here, bleed the brakes, pressurize them while I clean up the tools, and see if I got any leaks. But that should be about it. So we'll see how much of that I actually filmed, because it's kind of getting late here, but that's the plan. So let's do it. All right, so I was about to bleed my brakes, and my calipers, my bleeders, these calipers are only like 2 years old. They're the GM K20 kind of conversions for the front of these Dana 60s. And my bleeders are like, I swear I almost broke them getting them out, which is kind of crazy. So Josh will like this part of the video because he's always making fun of me for my anti-seize habits. Oh god, I dropped it. But if you can get your bleeders out and they give you any trouble, well, I just think right off the rip when you got brand new calipers, you should pull the bleeders out and give them a little anti-seize bath. Because if you're out somewhere wheeling and on a trip, and I dropped it again, wow. If you're out wheeling on a trip or you're in the woods, you do not want to deal with a broken bleeder. That's not fun. I mean, you can use the banjo bolt in a pinch. Get it? In a pinch. But yeah, having a not stuck bleeder, found it, is something that if you can deal with it in the shop, it's a lot better than dealing with it in the woods. So enjoy this one, Josh. Wow, with the anti-seize, it went in way easier than it came out. So I'm gonna do the other side. All right, so I bled the brakes. I made that little welded fitting and I filled in the hole. I guess I'll show you guys. So that's your master cylinder, and then that's your proportioning valve. Let's see if I can spin the camera around here. And that one right there is the one I welded up. I bled the brakes, and surprisingly, I think my pedal feels better than it ever did. So yeah, doesn't really make any sense to me. So pedal felt pretty good. So now Monday probably I'll have the guys help me bleed it again, but just to see if any more air burps out of them. But I have to remove these old lines, as well as these TerraFlex like line holder things, and then the only thing left will be my beautiful Kibitech limit straps. Thank goodness. So nice simplified brake system, or overcomplicated, I don't know. It's got one line to the axle and then a nice T. Really, it's just gonna match the rear. I'm hyped. So I'm not proud of a lot of things on this Jeep, but the front of it I'm starting to get pretty excited about. So the next step I guess up here would be double shearing this situation as well as over there. But this is 12 years old and I haven't had an issue yet. So now that I've said that out loud, I guess in a couple weekends when I'm actually rock crawling with this thing, probably have an issue. But you never say one more time, and you never say you've never had a problem, because now I might have one. So thanks for watching this video, guys. If you have mechanical steering still but a decent amount of suspension travel, maybe this will help you and give you an idea how to get your brake lines out of all the moving parts. I know this is a really relieving situation for me. I won't be thinking about my brake lines anymore. If you guys would subscribe to the channel, I would really appreciate it. I love this new camera. I hope you guys do too. Hope it looks a little bit different. And hop on the website and scoop up some new shirts and stuff. I'm always trying to add stuff on there. We have some new Van Camp hoodies, which you'll probably see in the video before this one. I haven't released these ones yet. It's our Made in America shirt, which we already have on the website, which is gray, but I got them in a long sleeve. Has the American flag. Bad camera angle, but Skill Josh flipped over at Wheeling for Warriors last year. That's actually the event that I'm getting this turd ready for. So time for a new design after this one, right? Poor timing though on the long sleeve. It's almost June, but you know what? It's cold at night, right? Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. We're gonna make a million more of these things. Dylan's not here today. I think when Dylan's here filming, it's probably gonna be a little bit more watchable, but in the meantime, gotta get in these reps with this camera. So thanks for watching. All right, so it's Monday, brakes are bled, the air bleeder worked awesome, and I'm ready to pull this thing out of the shop and get to real work. I did forget about one thing though, and it was that, well, what I thought was too much backlash, but I kind of forgot the way the center pin moves in this torque locker. So my backlash is actually mint still, and so I just pulled the cover, checked it out, fluid looks good. Locker looks beautiful as usual, so nothing to worry about here. Thanks for watching the video, guys. Hope you liked it. Subscribe to the channel, help us out. The next video we will be at Wheeling for Warriors at Field and Forest. Dylan's gonna be with me. He's gonna be helping me film. We're gonna bring the GoPros. Josh is probably gonna hook some GoPros up in people's buggies. Maybe we'll get some in-car, out-of-car clips. I'm really looking forward to that one and seeing if we can make a good video out of it. But subscribe to the channel, go scoop up one of the Made in America shirts that's on the website, and also the Van Camp hoodies. So thanks for watching, hope you liked it. See ya.
Check, check, Look, yo, a lot of non-believers in the field. Look at what my persistence revealed. I made strides while they stood still. Stay consistent, invested in my interests.